Hey there, welcome back to physics. It's time for our paradigm activity to start the circular motion unit. To do so, I've invited a friend, the air puck. All I'd like you to do while this is moving is make observations about the motion of the puck. That's all I need you to do. Watch, make observations. So right now, this is what we're looking for the observations about. I'll let it go a few more times. I'm a little bit regretting the angle that we have here. But hopefully you guys are getting a good idea with this. Okay, here's another angle. Give me a second. Okay, now that you've taken a moment to write down your own observations, let's take a look at some typical class observations. For one, pretty obvious, pretty fair. Puck is going around in a circle. Second one that students often will point out is that it is attached to a string. I should add, this is important, the string is tight, so students will often point that out. Students will often suggest that the puck is going at a constant velocity. Others will suggest that it is going at a constant speed. I don't remember what the difference is between those. Maybe you can look those up. Often students will also recall that the air puck means that friction is basically negligible. Awesome. Now I want you to look at this one more time, because now I actually want you to make a force diagram of what we see. But we've got to pick the same spot, the same spot, otherwise we're going to be kind of confused with these. So let me do this from this angle, because this is the angle that I want you to be making the force diagram from. So now I'd like you to make a force diagram of the puck at a very set spot in time. I'll play the video one more time and I'll stop it and show you where we want it from. Basically, I'm shooting to have it so that the string is to the right, or the puck is to the left of the center of the circle. Sound fair? Okay, you've made your force diagram. Now call up somebody else in the class. Talk this through with them. You know that a lot of this class is bouncing ideas off each other. Talk it through with one or two other people. When you're ready, come back and see the wrap-up video that continues after this. Pause it for now, please. Are all the groups ready? Okay, let's circle them up for a board meeting. This board meeting's going to break my heart. Okay, at this point, you've made your force diagrams. What I have here is a collection of some of the most common force diagrams that students will present in a board meeting. You'll notice some things that are consistent. Everybody has force gravity, of course, and everybody has a balancing force. I'm calling it force of air here. A lot of times people call it force of normal until they remember, oh yeah, it's kind of an air pocket. Not the big focus for right now. What it comes down to is the difference between the horizontal forces. Some people suggest there is none. Some people say, hey man, we know it's balanced. There has to be tension in. There's also something going outside. In both of these cases, they're working on the principle that it was going at a constant speed, therefore it's not accelerating. these two are arguing the case of, hey, I have tension and there is nothing acting out. These guys are saying there is something acting out. I know there's a force acting out because I've been on a merry-go-round and I can feel something throwing me out. These are all valid points. And in a board meeting, I really love the argumentation that happens here as people struggle through this. I hope you're struggling through this for yourself right now. By the way, please pause this at any points that you need it paused to think for your own self. So you notice the argument up here. They feel that the forces have to be balanced because the speed was constant. Hopefully a little something triggered in your mind there. Yeah, force needs to be speed is constant, but is the velocity really constant? What was the difference between speed and velocity? Thinking, oh yeah, velocity has a direction associated with it. Is the puck changing direction as it's going? Again, this even can lead to a discussion. No, it's always going forward. Somebody else will point out, yeah, but it's going this way, then it's going this way, then it's going this way, then it's going this way. And then above, looking from above, it's constantly changing direction. Those people usually win the case. The puck is definitely changing directions as it travels. Therefore, it is indeed changing velocity. Therefore, it has to be accelerating. So with that, we kind of can eliminate these top two options. Down here, well, do we have that tension in or do we have the force out? We know there's tension. We stated that it's there. But what about this force? I know there's a force acting. I feel like I'm being thrown out. Well, I'd encourage you, if you're struggling with this one, get rid of that question mark, and what would your on-by look like for this? For the tension, that's easy. Whether you want to call it the string or you want to call it my finger at the center of that, we know what the on-by would look like. For this force out, I don't know what it would be. It's a little thought process I can take you through to help explain this. Picture yourself at a stop sign with a driver who has a lead foot. The light turns green. It just turned from a stop sign into a stoplight. The light turns green and the person guns it. Which way do you know you are accelerating? Forward. Which way do you feel like you are being thrown? Yeah, I guess I feel like I'm being thrown back into my seat, even though I'm accelerating forward. Okay, now we're up at highway speed. Bambi jumps out in front of the car. Driver decides they don't want venison, don't need any more venison. They slam on the brakes. Which way do we all know you are accelerating when you're slamming on the brakes? Well, we're accelerating opposite the direction of motion. Which way do you feel like you are being thrown? Well, I feel like I'm being thrown forward. What causes that feeling? Have you noticed a pattern here? Accelerating that way, feel like I'm being thrown that way. Accelerating that way, feel like I'm being thrown forward. Now put yourself in a car going through some tight curves. Do you feel yourself being thrown to the inside or the outside of the path? Well, yeah, you feel like you're being thrown to the outside of the curve. Based on those previous two examples, which way must you actually be accelerating? Must be accelerating toward the center of the circle. And indeed, that is the case. There's even a name for this. Now, I hope Sometimes people come up with a name for this one. Sometimes people come up with a name for that outside force. They say, hey, I know it. I saw this once before. It's called a centrifugal force or centrifugal force. Welcome to physics. There is no such thing. I'll amend that. It has a purpose. It certainly does not have the purpose that people think. There is no such thing in the way that it is being used. There is no outside force acting on this puck. Some people call the centrifugal force an imaginary force. It's kind of like the same force that is throwing you forward when you're slamming on the brakes. Hey, there is no force throwing you forward when you're slamming on the brakes. If you could summarize that feeling in one word, what causes that feeling when you're gunning it, that you feel like you're being thrown backward? What causes that feeling of being thrown forward when you're braking? Oh, I word, anyone? Inertia, our friend, Newton's first law. You have a tendency to keep on doing what you were doing. That resistance, you feel that resistance, but it is not a force. It's not a force. You're actually feeling the force in the opposite direction, that force that is causing a change in your motion. So, there is a name, however, for a force that is directed toward the center of the circle. And in fact, another question I would ask if you were here is, what direction is that tension force always directed, no matter where the puck is? Well, gosh, the string is always coming from the center of the circle, so the tension is always directed toward the center of the circle. There is a name for that type of a force. It is called a centripetal force. I'll edit that in later. Literally, in Greek or Latin, the word centripetal means center seeking. I still don't understand how this thing could be accelerating toward the center of the circle, though, because you're telling me that no matter where the puck is, the unbalanced force is toward the center, so it should be accelerating toward the center, and yet it never gets any closer. Oh wait, is it getting any further away from that center though either? No. This is a tricky concept. There's no doubt about it. These are the basics though of this particular lab, of this particular experience. I hope I have not forgotten anything. This is so much better in person. I believe Ms. Montgomery is going to be submitting a video as well. I'll post both of these. Maybe you'll get more out of her presentation. That's fine. I just want you getting your brain working and understanding this. This is an extremely important concept, circular motion. We're going to break it down into several different types of motion over the next couple weeks. Motion going around horizontal curves, motion going through vertical curves, like you might on a roller coaster, or if you're doing tricks in a plane. Motion going through parts of a circle. So if you're riding in a car, you can go through a dip. Well, that's part of a circle, so there must be some circular motion there. Going over a hill also, there is centripetal forces in action. Again, those are things that we're going to hit over the next few weeks. Keep wrestling with this in your brain. See if you can justify it. See if you can get your brain working with the evidence that I have provided for you. Till next time, take care.